Good afternoon to all the participants. Once again, I express my thanks for bringing me excellent farewell, which I never forget in my life. Dr. Muthukumaran requested me to deliver lecture on this occasion, and actually, I never knew the topic of today's seminar is on. Right? Balance of Science and Foundations. Actually, if I were known, I also have a topic on that. It's okay. First thing is the geotechnical challenges in the Indian scenario for 2013 and beyond, view of an academician. In the morning, somebody has expressed some concern on the human resources in the field of geotechnical engineering. Supply and demand is not matching. Demand is more, supply is less. That's what Yeshwari was telling. It is true to a certain extent, okay? Because if you look at the total civil engineering every year coming out of the institutes, and number of students opting for PG degree, and particularly the geotechnical engineering, that percentage is only 6%. In all over India, every year, among the members obtaining PG degree in civil engineering discipline, if you compare, only 66% are geotechnical engineers. But if you look at the demand or the growth in the projects, mostly it is geotechnical oriented. There are two ways of working in civil engineering. One is working above ground, working below ground. Now, working below ground is increasing. Okay. I am not surprised if we are going to have a separate discipline on MTech underground engineering. It is not for okay. I am sure there can be an institute which is going to start another MTech program which is going to be underground engineering. Okay? That underground engineering is going to be that demand. Okay, my presentation contents will be following this. Vision 2030 during your conference 2015, current engineering practice and limitation, engineering research, engineering education and suggestions. If you look at the challenge, right, there is any problem geotechnical you touch, there is a challenge. When you compare the civil engineering and geotechnical engineering, civil engineering is a technical based, whereas geotechnical engineering is a practice based. When you talk about any problem in structural engineering, right, there is a clear-cut protocol. If it is going to be a frame, a multi-story frame, then we know what is the forces which are going to be on each members. It is not going to vary person to person. But in case of geotechnical engineering, it is not so. Suppose I am asking you to give me a solution to make a support to a depth of 4 meters. Okay, in this room there are half a dozen geotechnical engineers. If you say the practicing geotechnical engineers, if I am asking them to give a solution, they will be giving 2 different solutions. Okay. Surprisingly, I can say that all the 2 dozen solutions are solutions, right? But again, it depends on the person who is contemplating the solution, and it depends on what is the facility we have. Thirdly, it depends on how capable you are to get the project. Not that how capable you are to do the project, how capable you are to get the project. Therefore, it's a practice based. Hence, the thumb rule things are widely followed quite long time. Though we have some sort of solutions or closed form solutions, right? Still, all the closed form solutions cannot be implemented directly because the geotechnical engineering needs some art. I can say that it is a science of art rather than science of pure engineering. There is a difference between geotechnical and civil engineering. When we talk about the challenges, as I mentioned little ago, there is a problem, there is a challenge in every work. For example, if you wanted to lift a stone of, let us say, 3 tons, it has to be placed at a height of 20 meters. Yes, there is a way to do it without much problem. Whereas, if you wanted to make a foundation of 2 meters by 2 meters in a sediment deposit, I can say that there's a challenge. See that the two extreme problems. 5 tons of stone lifted and kept it on a tower of, let us say, 20 meters height. Yes, there's no problem at all. Okay, I can say that in this room, all the person is ready to give a technique for that. But at the same time, a simple solution, a 2 meter by 2 meter size foundation on a soft sediment. Despite we have a knowledge on geotechnical engineering, we always have a problem. That's what the degree of challenge, and that is going to be a uncertainty. When there is an uncertainty, there is a degree of risk, and then the degree of risk and uncertainty relation is going to be a manifold. If there is an uncertainty, is going to be 2%, risk is going to be exponential. Okay, uncertainty is going to be 10%, again risk is going to be a much more. Therefore, any uncertainty which is going to be it's a problem. Because of that, our solution is going to be always conservative, not cost effective. For example, let us say a simple thing. A file foundation, recently I got that issue for Chennai Metro. They are trying to put a pipe foundation of 2 meter diameter. The demand is 1500 tons on the pile, but the termination criteria is a very big question. Okay, and each one is giving one view, right? So again, how to solve this issue? Suppose you assume even the lowest strength of the soil mass, it is capable of giving 1100 tons, right? But where is the proof? What is the way I can terminate? Right? Unless otherwise, I have to do a load test. Again, load test on 2 meter diameter pile. Unless otherwise, statonomics test. Okay? Or you embed the load surge into concrete and then jack it. This is going to. At the same time, it is a foundation for the tunnel system. Therefore, if you are going to introduce any degree of uncertainty, automatically the risk is going to be an exponential. So, from this introduction, what is it we wanted to understand? This is a subject wherein the mechanism is one thing, okay, and then the complexity involved in the mechanism is not possible to understand very easily. At the same time, decision making is going to be a very tough. For example, if we take our IS code 2911, okay, in which we say that the pipe foundation, when you talk about the termination criterion, you say that 12 mm. Okay, this 12 mm, even for a 3 mm diameter is a 12 mm. and then 2 meter pipe is said to him, which is correct. How is it? Okay, uncertainty. And somebody wanted to bypass that highest code, there is a challenge. Okay, suppose, no, let me allow 25 mm. Okay, a simplest logic, if you take a simplest equation, QB 1 minus mu square IB, for the same intensity of load, you 30 mm, 300 mm diameter and 200 mm diameter for the same load, if you calculate, the settlement is very much more. Isn't it? For the same intensity. Okay, so that is what the challenge in geotechnical engineering. Okay, now when you talk about this, again we have to look into the millennium occurred. In that, they have taken the short-term goal as a sustainable development goals, SDG, is from MDG, they gone to SDG. In that, they have set 17 goals and 195 targets. In the 17 goals, if you look at it, all the 17 goals are concentrating towards providing a sustainable living, okay, for every individual common person living in this world. That's what the final thing. So the simplest way I can say that end hunger in any form. That's what they say. Similarly, end poverty in all forms. Food security, health security, okay, and then equitable education to all, women empowerment, okay, energy for all, okay, and use the existing resources in a meaningful way, such a way that it is a sustainable, water, sanitation, whatnot. Okay. Similarly, industrialization. Then when you talk about urban development, the urban should be a safe place to live. Okay. At the same time, there should be some sort of a, we have to say that industrialization or infrastructure, whatever you are talking about, there should be some sort of a resilience. There needs to be a resilience. And if there is no resilience, again, you are in trouble. Okay. Right? For example, reduce inequality among countries, makes it safe, resilient and sustainable, ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns, action to combat climate change and its impact, conserve and sustainably use natural resources including ocean, seas and marine, protect and sustainably manage forests, rivers, land recreation and the biodiversity loss. Like this, there is a 17 goals. In all the 17 goals, there is going to be involvement of various disciplines, engineers, doctors, lawyers, common man, social societies, everything. In this, the engineer role is going to be very important to provide the sustainable environment and good living for each and every human being. Okay? In that, the 17 goals what I have listed, if you look at it, the domain of civil engineer or rather the geotechnical engineer, these are all the domains I consider. They are, you see that, housing for all, okay, urban regeneration and resilient infrastructure, hill area development, sustainable management for water and sanitation, sustainable industrialization, ocean, seas and marine projects, seismic safety and risk assessment, preservation and restoration of heritage structures, interlinking of rivers, re-engineering of age-old structures and underground engineering. Now you see that we have a very big role, okay, and then each one you have a challenge. For example, every day, okay, day in day out, people are talking about linking of rivers. Is it that easy? Do we equip for that? Do we have enough knowledge for that? Okay. Okay? Or do we have the required financial support for that? And then have you made any estimate? What is the way the environmental change is going to happen? The living of rivers will not affect the biodiversity. Okay, if at all there is going to be some sort of a biodiversity, what is the sustainable measure we are going to contemplate? Right? This is going to be a very big problem. Right? Now, when you talk about all this, I am saying that each and every problem, whatever we are taking, wherein the responsibility of geotechnical engineer is going to be more, okay, and we have to realize, do we, the geotechnical engineers, have equipped ourselves to face these issues, both technically and to have an adequate equipment for handling this type of problems, and then whether we made any attempt to have some sort of a interaction between the construction engineer and geotechnical engineer, and we forgot one thing, as a geotechnical engineer, our involvement with the mechanical engineer is heavy. We never ever have any interaction with the mechanical engineers. Okay, for example, if I want provided termination criterion, then automatically I should borrow the knowledge from mechanical engineer, right? The simplest thing I can say, when you are turning a rod in a lathe machine, if it is going to be a steel and one is going to be a brass. As a mechanical engineer, he knows what is the torque, what is the type of tool to be used to cut a steel, to cut a brass. Okay? Then he is able to correlate the energy required and the energy resistance offered by the material for cutting. Similarly, when you are going to work on a rock, right, okay, the torque whatever you are using and the type of rock which is going to encounter, and then you have to develop a chart, torque versus the resistance. If that is there, the termination criteria can be set. As between knows, when you are talking about the stone column formation, in a stone column formation, whatever be the floor you are using, the floor diameter is not going to change. The floor diameter will be 300 mm or 400 mm. But the same floor will be used for making a column of 800 or 1 meter. Okay? But what is the way? The correlation is the energy supplied for the vibration and the formation of the column has been established. Once it is there, I am able to give. Okay? Like this, the challenges are many, but are we equipped to meet out all these challenges? As an Indian scenario, we are not equipped with the challenges, and we are trying to borrow the knowledge from others. When we are trying to borrow the knowledge from others, we dictate, they dictate. Okay? And there is going to be a heavy cost. You have to pay. For your ignorance, you have to pay more cost. That is going to be the next. Sure? Okay? So you see that the functions of geotechnical engineers, it is not limited. I have given only a certain points. Evaluation of bearing capacity, deformation of foundation, and the likely interaction between soil, structure, and foundation. Okay, that's my responsibility. Even today, despite having good knowledge, still there is a good scope for having better solution. For example, the interaction between soil, foundation, and structure. Three different entities. The soil, which is a three-phase material, which is having a tendency to creep. Sometimes it behaves as a highly viscous material. The time-dependent process is going to be dominant in it. The foundation, it is a middleman between the structure and the soil. Always you see that when the middleman is there, you have to take care of him properly. The foundation typically a middleman. Okay? Because he is the responsible person doing a job of transferring the load of a stiff structural load to that of the soil, which is very poor. Okay? Now, the foundation is doing the business between two. One is the weaker element and one is the stronger. Therefore, the middleman, he cannot be as strong as a foundation, he cannot be as weak as a soil. Right? So, we should have a proper understanding. Even despite having very good mathematical model, still there are a lot of scopes to improve the solution and having a better understanding on it. For example, one of the best examples is, I can say that design of pile raft. Okay? Design of raft itself is difficult, one angle. Design of pile itself, again a difficult. Then you are calling something as a pile raft, design of pile raft. Okay, once you say that design of pile raft, again I am in trouble. Okay, what is my share? The pile is asking what is my share and the raft is asking what is my share. Who is going to decide? Okay, who is going to decide? The share, how are you going to decide? It is not that easy to decide. Okay, but as an engineer, I can dictate. I have the ability to dictate. I can say that the raft share is 0, pile share is 100, then it's a pile. Okay, and the raft share is 20%, pile share is 80%. Okay, so for that level, I should have a understanding how to make. Okay, that type of knowledge is required. Okay, the challenges, again, is the points what I mentioned. It's a very limited. We all know complex soil conditions. It's a natural material. Okay, you should know how to do it. It's something like, okay, அந்த காலத்துல இப்போ மேரேஜ் பண்ணும்போது பேசி பழகி ஏதோ கல்யாணம் பண்ணிக்கிறோம். அந்த காலத்துல அப்படி இல்லை. இல்லை, எங்கள் அம்மா சொல்லுவாங்க, எங்கள் அப்பா அவங்க நின்று கூட பார்க்கல அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஓகே, அப்படி பார்த்து கல்யாணம் ஆனதுக்கப்புறம் இது வடக்கு போகும், அது தெற்கு போகும், பட் இருந்தாலும் வாழ்க்கை நடத்திருக்கேன். ரைட்? ஸோ as a natural material you have this problem and you have to try to solve this, right? And the unrealistic poor deposits. Yes, whenever you are going to operate on offshore, okay, the offshore sediments are very recent sediments, young sediments. That's what the difference again. Young rock is very good, young sediment is very bad. Okay, you are going to work on young sediments, and then again the problem is going to be multiple. The sediments what are you having on the ocean bed or sea bed is not going to be a perfectly horizontal. Definitely it is going to be a slope. There are issues. The slopes are 2 angles, 2 degrees. That creates a lot of problem. Okay, and then you have a underwater current, and then you have a tidal force. Okay, and you are having a deep water. The best example is our east coast. Right, the east coast, the depth of water also more, the thickness of sediment also more. I can tell you there are places where the n value is 0 to a depth of about 200 meters. That is the one reason why India never ever ventured into exploit hydrocarbon, despite we have a very good resource in east coast. Okay, west coast water depth is far, and the sediments are not as soft as this. I can say that west coast the sediments are stronger. That's the reason there are so many high-value platforms are in operation. But you cannot keep like that. One day or other, you have to exploit at that time. You have to put the structures there, right? For which the knowledge is required. Knowledge is available elsewhere, but when you are trying to borrow that knowledge, you have to pay for it. Okay? Next. The domain of problem, unimaginably heavy loads. Okay, I want to tell you here, the tallest structure in Asia was our Tanjavur Periyar Koil for 300 years, from 120 to 400 or something like that. Okay, so what I wanted to tell you, this group, we are not depth in knowledge. We are not depth in technology to build such a big temple. Okay? And for 300 years, that is the tallest structure in Asia. Okay. After that, the Srivillibutur Gopura was. But today, there are so many. Okay? In Bombay itself, again, there are many skyscrapers are coming. Again, I am coming to one more big question. Why it is not happening either in Chennai or in Calcutta? if you go to Google and print the tall buildings, right, and then you see that more than 100 tall buildings are in pipeline in Bombay, but not even one in Chennai, one or two in Kolkata. That's all. So, definitely down the line, another decade, we are going to have that much demand in Chennai also. Are we ready to take up those jobs? Do we have expertise? Do we have skilled people? Do we have the company which is ready to take up that type of job? Okay, and how are we going to achieve the goal of 2030? Okay, that's going to be another thing. Now, unrealistic post-market already said, unfavorable climate, right? You are talking about the climate only during operation, but the climate is going to be a real issue coming in near future. Like 2 years back, what happened in Chennai, then that much of water level, how the structures are going to perform under that water condition. The 15th Leonard lecture was on this. Okay, climatic impact on geotechnical engineering. Okay, so that's going to be another big challenge. It's going to open out another dimension for good research, right? Then, as I said, deep excavations. Even Chennai, the 2 basements are very rare. Recently, I have heard there are 4 or 5 works which are 4 basements. Okay, in a Chennai sediments, 4 basements, 2 excellent segments. If you are going to be along the east coast, you will have soft deposits. Similarly, middle part of the Chennai, you are going to have the soft deposits. But if you are coming to the south part of Chennai, the deposits are going to be hard, very hard. Okay, you will get a very good rock. For example, their own work IDC building, I know what is the problem they had, and then they cut the blocks, those blocks have been polished and used. Okay, so that's going to be the next challenge, right? Complex mechanisms and forces. When you are talking about the structures, and then the understanding of this is going to be very difficult. Okay, a fixed structure can be analyzed very easily. The same structure is buried to a depth of 20 meters below the ground level, and then try to have a in total analysis. Okay, treating substructure separately, superstructure separately, that is not the right way of doing it. In total, if you wanted to have a mechanism, if you wanted to analyze, it's going to be more complex, right? And then, do we have well proven models to attack all these problems? Right? So, we have to again get towards that. Then the special works, as I said, again this one. Okay. Current engineering practice limitations. We all know all these points. Limited skills. Yes. Even bar benders are not that equipped today. Then most of the cases, air-core methods are adopted. We are not ready for the modern techniques. And then even if you are ready for the modern techniques, it is not indigenized, it is borrowed. Okay. Why we are not attempting to develop the indigenous tech? Okay. The next thing is operators having limited knowledge and experience, as I said. Lack of ethics. That is again a very big barrier in our Indian context, right? When I started my career as a geotechnical engineer in 1985, there were only 2 investigation agencies. Today, you walk on a road in Chennai, at least I can say that you can see 3 boards at 3 different places. Okay? A fellow worked as a driller in the company. within about 3 months, he takes a loan of 2 lakhs and starting his own company. Okay? And he could not distinguish between sandy clay and a clay sand. He is operating, he is giving the report. Okay? There is no mechanism to control. Right? Next is the shortage of experts. Again, that's another thing. As I said, the demand is more. Next one is the laboratories are not accredited. Okay? All the laboratories, whatever it is, they have to accredit, they should get a proper license, then only they can operate. Okay, because of that, what is the consequence? Right? The one best example is the recent failure of power structure in Poor. Okay. Again, there is a debate on point. I don't want to talk much on that. Okay. Again, there is one question, unanswered question still remains. Right? If the problem would have been properly understood by engineers, that one structure could have been saved. Okay. It has been understood by the judiciary. That is the reason the entire building has been brought down. That's again a lacuna in the system. I will ask you only one question to you. You please answer me. On the day of a collapse of that building, if the building which is at a distance of about 20 meters has survived, is it not a real laboratory test of such impact? If the building has been served for that impact, okay, what is the issue? The question is, we will put up this other way also. Because that building has collapsed, why not this building? That's valid question. But my question is, even if you wanted to test that building under that force, it is not possible by you. Right? But a close-story building has collapsed. That means a sudden collapse. Such an impact. You think about what is the order of energy dissipated. Okay? What is the amount of air blast could have taken? Okay? What could have been the particle velocity? Then what we talk about low wave. Why it is not played on the structure? If at all it is played, still the building has survived. Then why should it demolish? And do we have any record? Right? We fail to record that also. Right? So, as one of the engineer serving the field for the last 30 years, this question is repeatedly asking myself. The day of collapse I was there. I also came to a conclusion that the particular main beam is resting on a secondary beam and the column is not there. It's a one reason. No doubt. Okay? The day of incidents, there was a heavy rain, thunderstorm, all the things are there. Whether they might have triggered, we don't know. Okay? And other consequences, because I have not been. Initially they thought that they wanted to put me as a member. Unfortunately, my student was involved in it. Because of that, they have not included me. Okay? But this question, building of that magnitude impact it has created, why, how this building is served. Once it is served, will it not serve for the entire life of the building? That's what the issues, right? Now, cost and time overrun, if it has not been properly done, then the failures again, loss of money. There are cases where accidents and loss of money. So, you have to be very serious. Okay. Now we talk about so far the practice. Now let us see what is the research level in our country. Most of the cases, including me, including some of the researchers, our attention is very, very less on our local issues. when you are reading the leading journals and you are seeing some papers, from the papers you are picking out any labs. Why not I use that lab by means of doing the research? Right. But in India, the fundamental mistake what we are all doing, if there is any research in US, it is having an immediate use. But the topic has been taken, the industry says this is my problem, okay, take it as an issue, solve and give it to me. And unless we say that, suppose somebody is talking about the heat exchange in a closed container, the same problem will work in Giti also. What is the use? So, we are not concentrating our real problem. Okay? If you don't have any research on Giti to start with, I can say that my work should be on a soft lake and my work should be on a expert side. That's what the problem is. Okay? Now, there's going to be a data development. Then automatically I have to work on underground problems. Right? At least down the line, after 5 years of work, I can say that this is the solution for this. That is lacking. Next, let's consider a need-based research. Industry needs are not addressed adequately. Right? Okay. For example, if I am going to have a diaphragm wall, a panel of 3 meter panel I need. Okay? Do I have the facility for that? Okay? But it is going to be a 3 meter width panel, and then the weight of the gauge, reinforced gauge, what do I do? The length of the gauge are what? 30 meters, single length. I have to handle. Whether do we have the indigenous equipment to handle that? Right? Apart from that, do you think that the pressure developed on the 30 meter deep diaphragm wall is same as that of the retaining wall of 10 meters? We always like to use the same technique to calculate your force. Is it correct? Okay. That has been very well documented, okay, in this theory and practice. Beyond depth of something, when there is going to be a yield of the soil mass, automatically arching is going to be there. Because of arching, there is going to be a reduction in the pressure. Right? Have you ever attempted to measure what the pressure which is going to be? Okay? And we are talking about designing the retaining wall for a passive pressure. Is it required all the time? Then what is the strain level required for the mobilized passive pressure, which is very high? Is it going to happen in reality? Okay? Why? We are not designing any structure for the allowable deformation. Why still hanging on our ultimate bearing capacity? And again hanging on the final stability. Right? These are all some of the issues. Then we need interdisciplinary areas needs encouragement. Okay. What I am trying to say here again, the civil engineering, particularly geotechnical engineers, they have to weigh with or they have to combine with the disciplines like textile, because the geosynthetics is going to be a very good material that is going to give solutions for many, and if you have to develop the very quality geotextile things, therefore our research should be with that. Secondly, we have to work with mechanical engineers, right? Because any ground improvement technique you talk about, right? Without a mechanical engineer's support, we cannot. Or rather, I can say that the amount of money given to them is going to be more than that of the money taken by the civil engineering contractor. Civil engineering contractor has to spend more money on the mechanical side. Okay, we need some sort of understanding. The develop innovative techniques for various field operations and measurements. Then another area wherein we are very poor is instrumentation. Okay? And you should remember, you are dealing with a material in the soil. It is like a coma patient. It is deaf. Okay? It is not going to tell what is the problem. Okay? Then a patient of that state, how the physician is handling, right? He tries to analyze him in various ways. One is trying to get the information about whatever the excreta is getting out. Afterwards, he is trying to scan him, okay, or he is doing some sort of a radiology testing, from which he comes out of what is the problem. Similarly, as a geotechnical engineer, you have to concentrate that type of techniques. Thermograms, to understand the quality of the soil mass. Okay? Why not? Ultrasound. Why not penetrating radars? Right? But our knowledge on these things are very limited. We never ever made use of those equipments to understand the certain characteristics of the material. Okay? We have to concentrate on the direction. Similarly, measuring the forces, measuring the stresses, measuring the deformations. Okay? For which, again we have to develop the new techniques, because you cannot reach certain locations. Okay? Is it possible to have some sort of a instrumentation technique which is going to be a wireless? Right? So the industry-institute partnership to be encouraged. Any research, we have to allow the industry to come to the institute very easily. There should not be any barrier. It should be permeable. Okay? But institutions are not looking in the angle. They always think that industry is going to earn a lot of money. No. Okay? Allow them, permeate them, then you demand. Okay? Don't put a barrier. For example, when the veterinary wants to do a PhD, somebody should not say that you have to come and stay here and then do a course for 4 courses and then sit there for 1 year. How can you? It is not possible. Right? This is one example, I say. Right? Therefore, that type of thing should not be there. Then, research findings are not made adequately in real-time projects. You know, people are getting funds, crores and crores and crores. They are doing the research projects, submitting the report. On the day of report, what was received, that fellow keeps in a bureau. That's all. Either it BSc or UGC, whatever it is. Never ever been put into practice. Okay? And then again, you call this a patenting. There are patents, but are they really practiced? Whether the patent is earning any money to the country? Right? So, the DST, UGC, AICTE, they are all spending crores and crores of money. But I am very scared to say that what is the real outcome of those research, particularly in engineering. Right? The research findings are not okay. Research on real-time issues is performed hardly. Right? Real-time issue research is not there. Right? Then the physical modeling through scientific to be encouraged. It is again a big barrier. In order to have a better understanding of the mechanism of certain problems, the simulation in centrifuge is better, though there is a contradictory thing. Still, we can say that it's a better system. In India, one national facility is there. Okay, then the demand on that is going to be more. No one is getting a share. That's all. But if you look at UK, every geotechnical department they have a centrifuge. Right? Maybe the capacity of the centrifuge may be different, but they have centrifuge. Okay? Therefore, what I am saying is, at least the centrifuge runs to the students to show the mechanism. At least for that purpose. Even for that purpose, we don't have it. That is going to be the issue. This is the knowledge level what we have in our country. Next, engineering education. So, what is the practice I already discussed? What is the implications of practice? What is the level of research? What is the concentration needs to be? Now, the education. Morning, our HOD also touched upon this point. In education, I think these are all the things which is required. Curriculum of UG and PG courses. Right? If you look at the curriculum of UG, the soil mechanics content is only 6%. Let us say the credit is 200 credits for what is the degree. The soil mechanics content will be 7 or 9 credits. 2 theory paper, 1 laboratory. Or 2 theory paper, 2 laboratory. Each theory paper of 3 credits, the laboratory is 1 or 2 credits. Therefore, the total percentage of this is going to be only 6%. 6 to 8%. But the structural content is going to be of the order of about 15 to 20%. Okay. What I am saying is, I am not blaming that my structural content should not be there, it should be there, but at the same time, the geotechnical content also to be increased. Okay. For that purpose only, now we are bringing the flexible credit system. Okay. So it is the learner bus system. Okay. That is going to be very important. Right? So, the UG and PG curriculum has to be properly run, particularly the PG level courses, because as a geotech engineer, you should have a specialist thing. For example, I can tell you, what is the way we fail? If you ask a doctor, right, you will say that I am a MD/DM cardiology. Okay? I am an expert in bypass surgery, or I am an expert in stenting. But when you ask an engineer, I am an MTech geotech engineer working for L&T. What is your identity? When a doctor says, I am radio oncologist. Oncologist, but he says this, I am radio oncologist. He is an expert in radiology. And he never says, I am working for Apollo or I am working for Adyar Cancer Institute. But he claims, I am a radio oncologist. Okay? So, when you ask me, then I have to claim, I am an expert in deep excavation. I am an expert in supporting systems. I am an expert in special foundations. Okay? I am an expert in diaphragm walls. Right? But we say that I am working for L&T, I am working for Wipro, I am working for Atkinson's. That's what you say. That's not correct. You are not having your identity. You are getting your identity through the company. That is wrong, am I right? Okay, so that should be the way, right? Now, you see that adequate laboratory courses, case studies as term papers. This is totally lagging in our curriculum. Totally lagging. You have to insist for term papers, right? Then every semester, each student should give 3 term papers on current issues. Necessarily we have to insist. Instead of saying that I am going to have 3 assignments, no. Scrap. Okay? And you are trying to judge his capabilities, understanding, by means of conducting 3-hour examination. Okay? That boy goes through the whole paper and asking the students, and then what is the way, what is the area in which this teacher is interested, in which part you put a question. Okay? He reads it and comes in and writing it well. Is it the learning? As I was telling every time, mark is a one scale. That is not the final scale. Or rather I say that is not the right scale to measure the everyday of a person. Okay? Right? Because we are always hanging on that scale, our students are focusing only on that. Okay? So, 3 good term papers. Right? Next is on-site training. You know, after the MD, and then a person goes for a DM. Do you know what is that responsibility of DM? If he wants to be a DM cardiology, within 2 years, you should have performed 150 bypass. You should be, after this 150 bypass, he has to submit a research report. It is Guru Shishya Parampara. Okay? Guru கிட்ட இருந்து எல்லாத்தையும் A to Z கத்துக்குவான். அந்த A to Z கத்துக்கிறதுக்கு அவன் தனியாக குட்டிக்காரனை போடணும். அது depends on the individuals. So, when he comes out of the DM, right, then he has his own confidence. What is the problem? But he asked me, sir, can you give a design for an excavation of 20 meters in a deposit which is having n value of 0, despite my 32 years of service? I can say, என்ன சார் ஆமாங்க எங்க முடியாது. Okay, expert is something, specialist is something. Okay, that is lacking in this, right? Okay, then virtual lab and computer based simulation, you can develop a lot of simulations. Okay, don't ask the student to develop a simulation. You employ a group, ask them to develop simulations, and then give them the simulations to the student. Let them ask them to run and see what is really happening. Later on, at the end of the simulation class, give a problem, ask him to simulate. Okay? One of the parameters, there are 10 parameters for the response. You might explain him the 6 parameters. The remaining 4 parameters, try to ask him to bring out what is the influence when these 4 parameters are brought in. One after the other. Okay, that's the thing. Then modern testing techniques and interpretation. Okay. Totally lacking that. Okay. Then advanced training in a specific field of geotechnical engineering. Certainly it is here. Okay. Okay, when I talk about research, the limitations in the teaching, as well as the issues of practice, it is my suggestions. My suggestions are not limited to this. The many suggestions are invited. The first one is, first of all, train the teachers. Okay, that is a very important thing. We lack in it. We say that something called faculty development program. It is useless. It is useless. That's not at all. Okay? Therefore, training the trainers, which is very rare, particularly in this state, training the trainers is very important, right? So, train resource persons in non-conventional testing techniques in leading laboratories or manufacturer of instruments. For example, if there is going to be a PDA, right? Then the equipment manufacturer is going to sell in this country every year 100 such equipments. If that is the case, you can give them the license stating that when you are selling 100 things, at least we have to train 200 teachers in that. Then only your license will be given. Okay? Always we depend on him. Right? Even any simple problem you say that, sir, I updated, I changed, this equipment no longer used. Okay? And then the fellow who is selling, he is also halfway because he never ever had the opportunity to getting training under the manufacturer. and made it available for every institute. Okay? Right? It is very much important. Already the IIT, what are the NTPL, what are they did. Similarly, you have to do, and again, there is some sort of barrier in NTPL also. Whenever I am able to, we are not able to take, and then there are some issues. What is the issue? Make it as a CD and give freely to all the institutions. Why do you distinguish government institute or private institute? It's a question of disseminating the knowledge. Okay? Don't think that the student of India College only should get a good education and then somewhere in Nagarkoil where there is not even a proper classroom. But you give this material to them. Okay? Is it that difficult? Cutting a CD is that difficult? Giving it to them is that difficult? Okay, that's the thing. Next, engage the students to opt for geotechnical engineering because geotechnical engineers are required, and then while teaching the UG class, right, you inculcate some interest in them and then inform them. Okay, you always see the structure above, but there is another part below. Okay, 12,700 kilometers of thing, the diameter of the earth, 12,700 kilometers in how much? 12,740 in east west, and then 12,700 kilometers in north south. Okay, then there is a depth cover of 100 kilometers minimum. Okay, right? Then can I not have another city below the ground? What's the problem? Why do you think always skyscraper? Right? But the days are not too far. Definitely, we are going to have the cities below the ground. It is going to happen. Right? For which we are taken. And next one is impart the knowledge through live demonstrations, video film, dynamic model apart from classroom teaching and term papers. Okay? When you talk about the retaining walls, okay, and then bring certain dynamic models and show them what the weight is being done. Okay? It is available, but we are not spending time. It is available. Right? Next, compulsory course on instrumentation and modern testing methods. It is very much required for taking it. This course would be a compulsory course. Right? Next. After PG degree, 1 year training in specific field, local problems or ongoing project leading to license certification. It is very much important. Okay, in that direction IIT is working now. They are offering a 1 year program on underground thing, right? PG diploma. Okay? Not necessarily that it should be in a course. Okay? We should have some sort of understanding, such a way that they have to, because they need a resource person. They also need. Okay? Compulsorily make them to undergo training on specific thing. Okay? He can be called as a specialist. Suppose instrumentation on retaining walls or instrumentation on diaphragm walls. Yes, training. Okay? So that is trick. Right? And then point from major projects of government for research. Right? From a major project, whenever there is something, let us say, our Chennai Metro, it is going to be so many thousands of crores. Then we should say, as education says, similarly, from the project, there should be a research says. Okay. That should be diverted to the institutions based on the track record of the institution. If the project is on river linking, whether this institute has done something on a hydrology, whether they have done some expertise on it, that is the case, you fund them. That's the way it has to be looked into. Identify the institutions to conduct research on specific problems based on the track record and fund them. right? Involve institute, industry and government agencies from the stage of conceptualization of major projects. Okay? For example, Nagapattinam Road, I am going to have a high-speed train, right? And I have to lay the ballast for 40 kilometers, 60 kilometers. Okay? From the day one, when the plan has been drawn, you have to draw the expert from the field, from the institute, and identify who are the industries who have done already related works, and the government agencies sit together, sort out the problem, chop out the things, right? And then identify the critical areas, locate the lacuna, right? If at all any investigation is required, any research is required, that has to be given to them and then get the solution. If I remember correct, when I was a third year student in civil engineering department, then there was a competition by Tamil Nadu government to write about our rapid transit system. We were all writing as a competition, but it is, I wrote the thing in the 1976, but still 1990 it has not seen the light. Okay? For the last few years only it is running properly. Okay? Then the Velachery station, you know, if people are not knowing, the embankment is there on pile. They have been called, said no, there's no other go. They put first on embankment, it's a creeping, right, and the track has been supported on piles, right. In the creeping environment, the pile is subject to such a heavy drag because the load of train and the impact is very less. The piles are required for that deep because of that drag load. Two expenditures. A very good example of lack of coordination. Okay. Then, in case of hiring or borrowing technology from foreign agencies or elsewhere for operation of major projects, insist on partnership and claim right on blueprint for technology. Okay. If somebody is coming here and the knocking off 1,000 crores of Indian money, I cannot leave it like that. Why should I? Okay. Now we have to have the consortium should be there. With the consortium we implement, at the same time you say that you give me the right. The example is first Calcutta Metro, and then we have not learned the technology. And then Delhi Metro, again why we have not learned the technology? Chennai Metro, again you are calling somebody from Russia, and then he left the job in between and ran away. Right? So what is the problem? When you are giving the work, you tell him, you do the work, at the same time, you allow me to learn. Right? That's not there. Okay, this is the right. So I can say that it is a golden egg. Geotechnical engineering is a golden egg. If you take care of that, definitely you will prosper in your life. But at the same time, you should know how to take care of the golden egg. Wait. That's the issue. That's all.
Please.
This word is really fascinating. The best way created next to God is civil engineering. Any question? Discussions, please. உங்ககிட்ட இருந்து கற்றுக்க ஏதாவது கொடுங்க. எனக்கு தெரியாத டைமென்ஷன்ஸ் நிறைய இருக்கு. நான் சொன்னது வந்து ஒரு லிமிட்டட். உங்களுக்கு ஒன்றுமே உதயமா இல்லையா? Anyway, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Now I request Dr. K. Muthukumaran to honor our chief guest